Improvements in the tech sector as the market recovers from a rough couple of days. But first, our top stories. Police agencies from all over northern Utah responded to reports of a man threatening officers in the small community of Thatcher in Box Elder County. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff reports.
Dispatchers got a call reporting a man had been strangling his girlfriend and then pistol whipped another person in the home. Deputy Cade Palmer with the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office says when officers arrived, Jeremy McIntyre threatened them as well.
He did make threats to law enforcement, and so Cache County SWAT team came over and then the local agencies to set up containment.
Deputy Palmer says he's not sure how many officers arrived, but
my sergeant on scene said the cavalry showed up.
Officers say a few minutes after 6, McIntyre surrendered and was arrested on suspicion of multiple crimes. Reporting from northern Utah, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News. 12 hours after it was initially posted to the president's social media account, the White House took down a video clip depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as apes. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more.
The AI-generated post playing into a historic dehumanizing trope sparked rare public condemnation from several of the president's allies in Congress. GOP Senator Tim Scott, the only black Republican in the Senate, called it the most racist thing he'd seen out of the White House. Mississippi's Roger Wicker said it was totally unacceptable, and he called on Trump to not just take it down, but also to apologize.
While Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt initially pushed back against what she called fake outrage, a White House aide later said the post was erroneously made by a Trump staffer. Other national stories KSL is following. Luigi Mangione, the man accused of shooting and killing the United Healthcare CEO, was back in court today. The judge tentatively set a June 8th trial date for the state murder case, but said he could push the trial date to September if the Department of Justice decides to appeal a ruling in the federal case. This, as there's been some discourse about whether the federal or state case would go first.
We know that both the federal and state side have been competing as to who goes first when it comes to this trial. The defense has been saying, hey, the Fed case has to go first because the death penalty is on the table. That's not an argument anymore. So I suspect the judge is calling them in to say, hey, your arguments seem to be falling by the wayside. Can we move forward with this state case?
ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer there. Taking a look at your money at this moment is being called a Friday run to an all-time high in the markets. The Dow up by more than 1,100 points right now. To give you perspective, that's up 2.25%. It sits at 50,016. S&P up by 118 points, and the NASDAQ, it's up by 412 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. What's happening, Ricky?
Normal KSL travel times up and down the I-15 corridor in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. A good drive on the rest of your Salt Lake County freeways, but a crash causing a little bit of backup at this intersection, but it's being cleared 2100 South and Main. This Valentine's, take love to new heights at The Roof, open for lunch and dinner. Enjoy city views and delicious bites unique to Utah. Visit theroofslc.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Spring-like weather for our Friday. Looks like spring-like weather for our weekend. Today's high 57, up to 58 by Sunday. Slight chance of showers on Monday and a greater chance on Tuesday. 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process. process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
A family office is a team built to handle the three biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm, under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Today, a deadly shooting by a Sandy police officer in which a teen with autism was shot and killed, deemed justified. Salt Lake County District Attorney says despite everything that happened, the officer was in the right to fire that deadly shot. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins me now live in the studio with more on what we learned today. And Eric, what did Sim Gill show you today in this walkthrough?
Maria, this was a video walkthrough at the DA's office, and Sim Gill walked us through the entire timeline using dash cam, body cam, and radio traffic. He started by stressing that this didn't begin at the scene with the shooting, right? He said it began earlier that morning with a stolen truck crash, then later a government-marked van stolen from an Army recruiting center in Sandy. Gill said police spotted it once earlier, didn't chase it at high speeds, then later got another 911 call from a neighbor who said a teen driver in a government-plated van was asking for gas, and that's when officers found it again and tried to stop it.
So tell us a little bit more about this video. What did it show in those moments that are leading up to when those shots were fired?
Right. The videos show a really chaotic scene. Gill pointed out officers had just been told over the radio the van ran red lights, went the wrong way on a street, and hit a motorcyclist. He says the motorcyclist was so badly hurt, he later lost his leg, and you could see him laying in the street as police passed that scene. Then Officer Brian Peters arrives right after that crash, and the video shows debris in the road, a Good Samaritan already trying to help the motorcyclist, and then a fire truck that just happened to be nearby, came in and rushed in to help. Gill says Peters is being directed by bystanders toward where the van went, and then suddenly the van comes back toward him on this tight neighborhood street. Gill said investigators slowed down the video, and from multiple angles, they say you can see the van start turning toward Officer Peters right as he steps out.
All right. So what was the main reason that Sim Gill gave for ruling this justified?
Right. His main point was this was a split-second decision. He kept saying it was a compressed space, which meant it was a very narrow street. Mm-hmm. He said prosecutors have to judge what the officer reasonably believed in that moment. Gill said this wasn't an officer stepping into the path of a car that's driving away. He says the van is coming back toward them, and that's what I saw in the video right after that crash that I described. And then the video shows it, the tires slowed down, turning toward the officer. He also emphasized that another officer right behind Peters told investigators that he thought the van was about to hit them too, and Gill says that supports the idea that this wasn't just one person misreading the situation. So his bottom line was, based on all that video, that timing, the danger, all of that together, his office can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the shooting was a crime, so they're declining charges.
All right. Thank you, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera. Malachi Portwood was killed after leaving a group home in Bluffdale. After the shooting, police learned that Malachi had autism, ADHD, and oppositional defiance disorder. Michelle Hiles is a volunteer board member for the Autism Council of Utah. She's also a member of the council's law enforcement committee. She tells KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla that the council has trainings to help officers know how to approach and work with people who have autism. Now, she thinks these trainings have helped things improve over the past several years.
I think there's been a lot of improvement. Our training has been very helpful for officers, and they've been so thankful for the training that we've provided them. They're hungry for it, right? They're seeing autism more and more, or those on the spectrum more and more, and so just that training, I think, is helping overall with everybody. First responders, officers, firefighters, like all law enforcement.
And forgive me, I have mispronounced his name. It is Malachi Portwood. Hiles says their training aims to give first responders knowledge on how to respond better to these situations. She says it's actually a legislatively mandated training.
They're learning all things about autism. And our training is 2 hours long, and it was mandated from the legislature that all first responders and officers receive the training, and it's just all how to respond better when coming in contact with those with autism, what their tendencies might be, and why they're doing weird things or things that might be weird to us. Why are their hand flapping? Why are they not making eye contact? And just to have how to handle those situations a little bit better.
What does Hiles think is the most beneficial part of the training? Peace of mind for families.
For families to know that their local city police department and officers have been trained, I think is peace of mind for the community that they live in. But from an officer point of view, I think it just gives them some extra tools, right, to be able to work with everyone in their community. These individuals on the spectrum, are their neighbors, and these families are their neighbors as well, and they serve them as their officer. And so giving them these tools really helps that there be a smoother communication between the officer and the individual.
Michelle Hiles is with the Autism Council of Utah. We have more on the situation and body camera footage available for you to see at ksl.com. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Big tax changes this year could mean a bigger refund, and Jackson Hewitt knows how to get you your biggest. You'll get $100 just to try us. That won't make you filthy rich, but definitely gas plus groceries rich. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back, which would make you low-key loaded. Or at least wealthy adjacent? Go with our trusted pros and get $100 to switch. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients, participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
A now deleted video on President Trump's social media accounts has prompted outrage for being seen as a racist attack against former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. ABC's Karen Travers explains.
The White House now says a staffer, quote, erroneously made the post. Earlier today, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt pushed back on what she called, quote, fake outrage over the president's post. The video includes an animation depicting former President Obama and Michelle Obama in the bodies of apes. Tim Scott, the only black Republican in the Senate, posted on X, quote, praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it. Republican Senator Roger Wicker writing on X, quote, this is totally unacceptable. The president should take it down down and apologize. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Janetta Williams is the president of the Salt Lake chapter of the NAACP. She joined Inside Sources today to share her reaction to the post.
I don't know what sane person would even do that. And especially for a leader of the country to post something like that or repost anything that derogatory, it's just a reflection on, excuse me, on what we're seeing throughout the country. That's why we see so much hatred and so much bigotry going on in this country, because it comes from the top down, top leadership.
She says in these situations, it's important for other Republican leaders to denounce posts like this.
We have to make sure that we denounce all of these different things like this, because, for instance, Governor Cox, if he's asked about it, he should denounce this. Our congressional leadership, they should denounce when and every time that President Trump does something like this that's totally racist, and they all know it is racist, but with them being quiet and silent doesn't help our country, and it doesn't move the needle to working relationships with everybody else.
Senator John Curtis slammed the decision to post the video, saying it was blatantly racist and inexcusable. The senator wrote on X that it never should have been posted or left published for so long. Roughly 14 years since 4 Americans were killed in a U.S. embassy in Benghazi, Libya, U.S. Attorney General announced today that they have arrested and brought back a man they believe played a role in the murders. 4 Americans died in the attacks on September 2012. Ambassador Chris Stevens, State Department employee Sean Smith, and CIA contractors Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty. Many other Americans were injured in the multi-day attack as well. Attorney General Pam Bondi made the announcement of the arrest this morning.
We have never forgotten those heroes, and we have never stopped seeking justice for that crime against our nation. In fact, from day one, Cash and Dan would sit in meetings and say, "We're going to get them," and they did. Today, I'm proud to announce that the FBI has arrested one of the key participants behind the Benghazi attack. Zubair al-Bakash landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 3 a.m. this morning. He is in our custody. He was greeted by Director Patel and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. Hillary Clinton famously once said about Benghazi, "What difference at this point does it make?" Well, it makes a difference to Donald Trump. It makes a difference to those families. And 14 years later, it makes a difference to law enforcement who made the difference in this case. Thank you, President Trump, for supporting all of our agencies around the country and around the world. Al-Bakash will now face American justice on American soil. We will prosecute this alleged terrorist to the fullest extent of the law. He'll face charges related to murder, terrorism, arson, among others. Let this case serve as a reminder. If you commit a crime against the American people anywhere in this world, President Trump's Justice Department will find you. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. You can run, but you cannot hide.
This is the first arrest in nearly 9 years in connection with the attack. Another man was captured in 2017 for aiding in the attacks, later being convicted and sentenced to 19 years in prison. The Winter Games might be starting in Italy right now, but the party in Salt Lake City kicks off tonight. We'll get a preview of a massive watch party downtown coming up next, but first it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more, UCCU. Love where you bank, Ricky.
We do have a new accident, I-215's West Belt at California Avenue, and it's right in the construction area. And it's also causing backups in both directions, so if you are traveling the West Belt, expect a little bit of slowing. Also seeing some heavy and slow traffic on Bangor Highway going southbound, approaching 3500 South. Join Ovation Homes. Fall in love with your home event with your home. This event is February 14th, hosted by KSL Greenhouse Show live in West Point and Waffle Love at Sadie's Glen in Syracuse. Details visit ovationhomesutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Are you looking to upgrade your home this year? Advanced Window Products is your local window and door manufacturer that sells direct to the public.
That's right, celebrating 40 years serving Utah since 1986. And right now, it's the New Year, New Window sale. Get $2,500 off when you buy 10 windows or more.
Our windows are made right here in Salt Lake City. Sales and installation are all in-house, meaning no middleman markups. You get the most affordable, high-quality custom windows in the state.
We build it, we install it, and we guarantee it for life.
Every window comes with a lifetime warranty, labor, glass, and parts included, serviced by our local team, and the warranty is transferable to the next homeowner.
Financing is available too. Save now, pay later, with payments as low as $150 a month.
Buy local and support the local economy. Don't wait. Buy 10 windows or more and get $2,500 off. Beat the rush and call today.
Call us at 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit us at advancedwindows.com.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. Recently, I checked into a hotel and found that the internet wasn't working in my room. I called the front desk, who gave me a number for the tech support guy. After 20 minutes of being on hold and 10 minutes of providing numbers, 10 minutes of troubleshooting, I just hung up. Why was I doing the hotel's job for them? It's not my job to solve their network problem. That's happening everywhere. To pay for parking, I need to download yet another parking app, type in a credit card number, type in the addresses and the license plate number, type in a verification code. I liked it better when I just handed the attendant some money. Or the restaurant where I stand in line, get my food, order on a computer, pick up my food, and the only time I ever talk to a server is when they're taking my money and asking for a tip. Technology is good, but it cannot replace service. Real service is something that happens only between people. Learn more about real service in an MBA from Utah State. Go to utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
When Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts or commitments, so while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting, your Xfinity internet price won't budge. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And guess what? You'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get their best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month, plus get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 monthly value. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos.
The 2026 Winter Games on KSL News Radio.
Right now, the opening ceremony for the Winter Games is underway. For those who aren't able to watch it this afternoon, you're in luck. Salt Lake City will hold a watch party tonight to celebrate the beginning of the games, and you are all invited. Joining me now to talk more about tonight's festivities is Mayor Erin Mendenhall. Mayor, it's so great to have you here to talk about something fun.
Maria, thanks for having me on.
So describe what's happening tonight.
Tonight, we are inviting the state of Utah, anybody who's a fan of watching our incredible athletes compete at this global level, to join us. It's a free event in the middle of the Library Square down here, across the street from City Hall. We'll be having this party every day of the Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. But tonight, because it's opening ceremony and again on closing ceremony, it's going to be especially exciting. So everybody's invited to come down, and the show starts around 4 o'clock with the real festivities beginning at 6 and then the broadcast at 7.
Okay, Mayor, why is it important to do these kinds of events for the Olympics?
Well, I think, honestly, coming together, celebrating the Olympics and the Paralympics, and feeling the joy of our Olympic spirit as a state is as needed right now than any other time in our history. It's not only about Team USA, it's about us celebrating together, sharing that space together, and coming together in one of the prettiest parts of our downtown to have a great time with families. It's kid-friendly, it's free, and we get to cheer on our athletes, so many of whom train right here in Utah.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see what a difference it makes when you are celebrating with the community rather than home on your own couch, right?
Yeah, the spirit of the games, as you know, has lived on consistently since 2002. Over 80% of Utahns have consistently supported us bringing the world back here with another games. We're so excited to do that in 8 years. And that's only 2 winter games away. So we get to watch Milan Cortina. We'll have the French Alps in 4 more years, and then it's right back here at home. So the legacy begins tonight, and we get to build this legacy over the next 8 years as we build up to our return.
Let's talk for a second about the athletes and the importance of really celebrating those athletes that come from Utah. They train right here.
You know, over 30 nations send their athletes to train here because of our incredible facilities, because of our supportive community, and because of the altitude that we have that helps their training experience. So not only do we have a lot of Utahns and people who have been living here for years that are training, but we, some of us even, out in the community, out at the Kearns Oval, up at the training facility in Summit County, we get to meet these athletes from around the world. And that opening ceremony experience of watching the Parade of Nations, the flags come in, I think is also especially special for Utahns, as we have an incredible amount of people who speak different languages, who have visited different nations and feel connected to people from all over.
Mayor, what message do you hope this sends to people around the world about Salt Lake City's excitement for the games?
Salt Lake City has been and is ready to bring the world back here. We love the games, and we know that sport can unite communities. And I think that's something that Americans of whatever political affiliation or none that you have can come together around more than almost anything else. Sport is something that can help us heal. It can help us grow. And I think Americans, community members around this nation right now are looking for that. Come and celebrate with us. Come have a great time and check it out. You're going to have free access, and like I said, it's every day of the games, and then we'll have a little bit of a dark week and fire it right back up for the Paralympics.
So, Mayor, I'm wondering, why aren't you in Milan to take part in this experience?
Because I wanted to be here for this. This is something that I wanted to do after going to the Paris Summer Games in 2024 and seeing neighborhoods host watch parties for residents who don't have tickets to an event. And it was such a cool idea and an amazing experience with those residents in the Saint-Denis neighborhood in Paris that I came back and said, we need to do this here. I think it's something that Salt Lake City and the Utah community should plan to do for every games leading up to our 2034 experience, because it keeps that spirit alive and we can cheer on Team USA together.
Mayor, thank you so much for being with me.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, Maria.
Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall. And make sure you join us here on Midday at 2:40 today as we chat with KSL 5's Deanie Wimmer live from the opening ceremonies there in Italy. It's 1:30, Midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. As the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance continues, we're taking a closer look at the nuances of owning security cameras and whether or not they're as helpful as you might think. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
A crash on I-215 South Belt causing a little bit of backup before I-15. Maria?
KSL's top local story. Utah Senator John Curtis is now condemning a post made by President Trump on Truth Social last night. The president shared a video featuring former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle as apes. The post has now been removed, but Senator Curtis says it was blatantly racist and inexcusable. He says it never should have been posted or left published for so long. The White House originally defended the post, but has since said it was posted by a staffer. Other local stories KSL is following. Utah State University is getting nearly $2 million to use artificial intelligence to treat bird flu. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Spearheading the effort is Associate Professor Rakesh Koundel, who tells the USU College of Veterinary Medicine his team will be using AI to sort through data at a rate faster than any humans can do and recommend treatments that will most likely work. This condenses a project from years to a matter of weeks. Funding comes through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, investing $100 million into treating bird flu. USU's proposal is one of 58 selected and the only one from Utah. Bird flu is highly destructive to bird populations and the food supply, and 2 people have died from it since 2024. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
A commissioner in Utah County is working to get an ice rink built in Lehigh. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez has more.
Commissioner Skylar Beltran has been working over the last year to receive the needed funding and pinpoint a location for the rink that will likely cost around $16 million. So far, they have around $12 million in funding thanks to the Parks and Tourism tax and private donations from Utah Mammoth. Beltran says they are hoping to fill the gap with support from the community, which they have received from hockey fans especially.
As a county, we look at it as both a recreational and quality of life amenity for residents, but also as an economic driver.
Beltran says many people have reached out to him over email asking how they can help get the rink built. McKenna Rodriguez, KSL News Radio.
It's a record-breaking day for the markets. Watching your money at this moment, the Dow above the 50,000 mark, 50,046 is where it sits. That's up 1,100 points, or 2.25%. S&P 500 up by nearly 2%, up 123 points, and the Nasdaq up by 2%, up 452 points. Traffic and weather together, it's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
We do have a small accident. This is in the Taylorsville, Murray area, eastbound, I-215 South Belt. It's after Redwood Road, but before the I-15 junction, and now over to the shoulder, but it has caused some delays. And we also have traffic backed up both directions of Bangerter Highway near 3500 South. Arrive in style for all of life's events. From the first suit to the first dance, preparing to serve or starting a life together. Every age, every milestone for nearly 60 years, Mr. Mac, helping you look your best for all of life's events. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm temperatures for the weekend before things start to change. Hopefully a little bit of wet weather early next week. 20% chance of showers on Monday, 40% chance on Tuesday. Right now, 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551.
January's over, but your goals don't have to be. If you missed your start date or your January weight loss plan already fell apart, this is your do-over. This is your resolution reset. Right now, Salt Lake City Fat Loss is offering $200 off to help you get back on track through the end of February. Plus one free body contouring session where you can lose up to 2 inches per session. Our doctor-developed all-natural program helps you lose up to 1 pound of fat per day with no injections, no drugs, no workouts, and no prepackaged meals.
JJ here. I lost 40 pounds in 60 days thanks to this program. Alex here. I've dropped 65 pounds. SLCfatloss.com.
Stop restarting and start getting results. Take advantage of the resolution reset with $200 off ending February 28th. Plus one free body contouring session where you can lose up to 2 inches per session. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 1 or 2 months. Call now and schedule your free consultation at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The family of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie issuing another plea to the people who may have kidnapped her from her Tucson, Arizona home. The mother of NBC Today Show host Savannah Guthrie was last seen last Saturday night. ABC's Aaron Katursky is following the story in Tucson and says local, state, and federal law enforcement are still trying to confirm the legitimacy of the alleged ransom notes.
The FBI says that a ransom note that was received by several local television stations, including the ABC affiliate here in Tucson, does have characteristics that lend credence to the idea that it could be legitimate.
Wow.
Now, they're still unverified, but this particular note described things like an Apple Watch that Nancy Guthrie may have been wearing and damage to her home in the form of a camera. And the authorities did say a doorbell camera was disconnected from its system. So that lends some credence to the idea that Nancy Guthrie may have been abducted and is being held for ransom.
As the family send out personal messages and pleas to the supposed kidnappers, what kinds of things should we be watching and paying attention to? After all, nothing in these messages is by chance. These kinds of pleas are often well thought out, so the execution is both emotional and effective.
This was an anguished message from Savannah Guthrie and her siblings, but also an intentional one where they tried to humanize their mom in the eyes of any captors.
Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light.
By calling her grandma, by calling her mommy, using her first name.
She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses.
How they love her and how there is a light missing from their lives.
She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances.
And you never know whose heartstring you might tug with a message like that.
Mm-hmm.
And hope against hope that a kidnapper would do the right thing. And the authorities are saying that they're not telling the family what to do. They are offering advice, but any option is going to be up to the family.
Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward.
And we heard from Savannah Guthrie's brother Cameron in his own Instagram post saying we need to know how to get in touch, because the family also did something else intentional, Brad. They wanted to be seen as normal, as approachable, even though Savannah Guthrie is on television.
We are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom.
They want any would-be kidnapper to know that they are ready to talk and ready to listen.
The alleged ransom notes contained a few deadlines, including one that passed yesterday afternoon. The next deadline listed coming up on Monday.
Well, the ransom note that the FBI mentioned included two different deadlines. It included a demand for Bitcoin. And so the authorities want to know if that ransom note is legitimate, if the captor who wrote it could provide proof of life.
You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a much worse scenario for you.
And that's more than anything what the Guthrie family wants. Right. They want proof that their mother is alive and to know whether this ransom is real.
We live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
And then they can make some decisions as a family. Otherwise, the longer it goes on, if they don't hear from any captors, that gives less and less credence to the idea that Nancy Guthrie was abducted for ransom, and maybe this was something else.
According to the FBI, one person has been arrested accused of trying to exploit the suffering of the Guthrie family with a fake ransom note demanding Bitcoin.
We have made one arrest related to an imposter ransom demand, and a complaint will be presented to a magistrate judge.
That individual is now under arrest on two different federal charges. Hard to imagine anything worse under these circumstances. So the authorities say they are able to distinguish between what might be real and not.
ABC's Aaron Katursky reporting from the scene of the investigation in Tucson, Arizona. Yesterday, we learned that the investigators weren't able to get any information from Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera. The news came as a surprise to many people who have their own security doorbell cameras, thinking they provide some extra security. Brandon Amaker, who is the director of the Emerging Tech Policy Lab at Utah Valley University, joins me to describe why that is and how subscription services work.
So I think a core element of this is that oftentimes when these platforms like Ring or Wise are charging you for a subscription, they're actually charging you for the space to store the data from your video. So videos are notoriously large file formats. So what they're actually charging you for is the ability for them, the space on their server to store that information. So I'm guessing what happened in this case is that without the subscription, the Ring camera will still work. It still detects motion. You can still look at your camera's live feed, but then it doesn't necessarily record events. Some of these places, they'll record snapshots of events as photos, but they won't record video. With Ring in particular, I'm not sure, but it's likely that there was never video footage of this stored whatsoever on any Ring server, and that's why law enforcement can't access it.
For most of us, this is kind of interesting because we think that data is being stored everywhere and you can always get it. I mean, we're told that, when you put anything out there online, it's always out there. So this is kind of a new concept for some folks who have those Ring cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also important to differentiate between the fact that just because there is a live video feed of something, it doesn't necessarily mean that that video is being stored, right? It exists. You can go look at it, but unless you're paying for it to be stored, it is not going to exist once it is done happening, right? It's not going to record those events. So that is kind of the distinction to be made.
Right. Are there those services where you can actually record locally with an SD card, or does it always require a subscription?
Really good question. Yes, there are certain platforms and camera systems that will allow you to record locally on an SD card without a subscription. So that's just saving natively onto the device. Now, the hazard with that is that, like we saw in this case, the camera was actually disconnected and taken away. If somebody were to take the device away with the SD card inside of it, they are going to destroy it without it being stored in the cloud. It's also going to be taken off. Now, there are also platforms like closed circuit camera systems, which are more kind of old school, which will store all that information inside somewhere, which is not connected to the internet on its own internal system.
Yeah, I guess this raises, some issues I have a subscription service, but for others who are thinking that they have kind of security cameras that are going to help them out in case that something happens in front of their home, that's really not the case. So what do they need to be thinking about here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing I would do is really try to outline your personal security requirements, right? Is this more just something that you want to keep an eye on your front door, see who's at the door, or is this something that you actually want to record in case something happens or that you do become the victim of a crime? Because if so, you need to very accurately understand the capabilities of your camera system. What is it going to store? What isn't it going to store? And make sure that it aligns with what you're doing before you install it. Also, do your research into these different platforms and what they offer for free versus what they offer for an upcharge. Because I think what happens is a lot of people will end up buying a system and then finding out what is free and what's not later. So know your options, know your alternatives, and understand the capabilities and make sure that aligns with what you're actually looking for from a security perspective.
Brandon Amaker is the director of the Emerging Tech Policy Lab at Utah Valley University. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Attention Jazz Nation. We know you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, and the time has finally arrived. All tickets are available now. Let's go! Your favorite players will be back on the court, bringing the energy all season long. Whether you're looking for season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, there's a perfect option for every kind of fan. Show up loud and proud at Delta Center this season. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Buy your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
The University of Utah has been a major driver of Utah's economy, education, and healthcare in the state. Now, a Kempsey Gardner report shows exactly how much. Andrea Brandley is the lead author of the report. She says the U's efforts have a ripple effect in many other areas, bringing in money to the state from other parts of the world.
So the University of Utah is actually the state's second largest employer. So they have a very large impact on Utah's economy. In the year we studied, in fiscal year 2024, they employed almost 45,000 people across their campus, health system, and component units. And then as their contribution ripples through the economy, they supported nearly 100,000 jobs in Utah, which accounts for about 4% of the state's jobs. So if you think of, 4 in every 100 jobs is somehow being tied back to the University of Utah.
I mean, we all know that the University of Utah is a major employer, but did you find some surprising things when you were looking at the numbers?
Yeah, so of course, employment is one part of their economic impact. They also, related to employment, have a very big impact on earnings and gross domestic product and output. So in summary, they supported $7.6 billion in earnings, $10.3 billion in gross domestic product, and $18.1 billion in output. And then, of course, beyond their economic activity, the University of Utah has a big reach when it comes, of course, to educating many students. They give more advanced degrees than any other university in the state, so really are highly trained workforce when it comes to graduate degrees, master's degrees, PhDs, and professional degrees. They also are a huge research enterprise. So in this fiscal year, they expended more than $700 million on research-related activities. This, of course, is bringing a lot of new money into the state from federal government sources and other sources, and then is supporting a lot of innovation and research and discovery that can help improve quality of life for people in Utah and beyond.
Do you put a number on all of this benefit, or how do you look at the dollars?
Yeah, so the economic activity, the dollars that I gave you are really associated with all of the university's employment and spending across its campus and health system and research as a whole. So that's the $7.6 billion in earnings, $10.3 billion in gross domestic product, and $18.1 billion in output. However, when we think about like the research impact and the education impact and how they the healthcare impact and societal benefits as a whole, some of those are pretty difficult to quantify. So while we can kind of put these economic numbers for how their employment and spending ripples through the economy, we also know that their contribution extends beyond that as they're, of course, improving individual lives, improving communities through their academic research and healthcare missions.
Andrea, anything we need to add that people should know?
One fun thing, we talk about their societal benefits. They do a ton of workforce quality and development, research, student experience, but just something that's a little bit more current. We have the Olympics beginning in Milan this year, and the U actually has more athletes tied to the University of Utah than any other U.S. institution. So we've got a lot of University of Utah athletes with ties to the University of Utah competing there. So that's just kind of a fun example of how the U contributes to Utah and to the world.
U of U President Taylor Randall says the report shows the school's mission to drive Utah's future is working. Coming up at 2 o'clock on Midday, we'll get a preview of the big game this weekend. Yep, the Super Bowl with KSL Sports. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky?
Crews are still working to clear the accident eastbound I-215 South Belt after Redwood Road. It's out of traffic. Earlier heavy delays are really thinning out. The rest of your Valley freeways seeing a nice and quiet drive. The Good Feet store supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
My friend Joey loves to use old familiar sayings.
You know what they say.
The problem is,
don't look at a gift horse because you can't make them drink.
He gets a lot of them mixed up.
People who live in glass houses,
here it comes,
shouldn't cry over spilt milk.
There are also a lot of sayings in the financial world, like, you'll pay lower taxes in retirement. But for many people, it's just not true. You may have done a great job saving in that 401k or IRA, but Uncle Sam is ready to grab a big portion of that money. The team at Galileo Wealth Management can help with strategies that you can start now to lower your tax bill in the future. More for you and less for Uncle Sam.
Or as they say, an apple a day is worth two in the bush.
Get the facts on your tax bill in retirement. Call Galileo Wealth today at 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online at GalileoWealth.com.
And remember, a stitch in time keeps the doctor away. It does,
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Amanda, I've been taught to begin with the end in mind. And when it comes to something like weight loss, that's really, really important because some weight loss plans have no end. It's like another refill or another bill or another year, but soda weight loss has a finish line.
You learn it once, you use it forever. And I'm all about health. I mean, I don't want to have my body become addicted to another drug that I have to take forever in order to be healthy. I want the opposite of that. I want fewer medications. I want my body to learn how to do this on its own and be strong.
For so many weight loss drugs, you have to just take them forever in order to maintain that feeling when you cross the finish line. When I hit 70 pounds that I let go of in 5 months, what an amazing feeling. And it was amazing to know I could just go forward from this point.
You can talk to a nutritionist and ask all your questions at 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because it's SOTA. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic. Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The Utah Attorney General has launched an effort to protect Utah's sovereignty. He's doing so by adding a federalism and strategic litigation section in his office. Utah Solicitor General Stan Purser explains why this is necessary.
Federalism is a key way to protect citizens' individual rights and our freedoms. And it's important, it's one of the priorities of our Attorney General to ensure that the federal government stays within its enumerated powers. And if it does that, if we can, keep those limits in place, then it allows Utah to govern itself without the federal government incursions into our state authority and trying to regulate things that should be left up to Utahns to legislate about. And also there's other states that sometimes pass laws, the effect of which will affect neighboring states or states across the country. And in our view, that's wrong too. States need to stay within their own state boundaries and regulate their own internal matters without trying to affect what's going on in other states.
So what is happening now that has created a fear that we need to protect our sovereignty?
Well, the AG's office has always been involved in these types of things, guarding these limits. As I said, it's a particular emphasis of Attorney General Brown. But we think starting a section that is able to focus on this will enhance Utah's ability to make sure these federalism boundaries are guarded, protected, and kept in place, so Utah can control what Utah should control, and the federal government and other states stay within their limits.
Yeah. So describe for me how this section will work.
Well, so we've hired two great attorneys, Josh Cutler and Mark Gillespie. And we will be on the lookout for areas if we come across either regulations or laws or other states' laws that affect Utah. With these new resources, we'll be able to file a lawsuit if necessary to push back on these laws. It'll help doing research, writing comment letters when federal agencies make proposed rules that we believe overreach their powers. So it's more adding resources to the office to enhance things that we've always been trying to do, but this will make it more possible for us to achieve those goals.
All right. Are there any rules or laws that they are going to start with right off the bat?
We can't comment on anything that we might file yet, but we're looking to see where those federalism limits need to be pushed back on.
That is Utah Solicitor General Stan Purser there. In the next hour of Midday, we'll get an in-depth look at what goes into one of the most well-known food drives, Scouting for Food. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
As the Winter Games get underway in Italy, millions of eyes in the U.S. will be watching their screens on Sunday for the Super Bowl.
This is like a classic redemption story. Think of Super Bowl 49. The Patriots did beat the Seahawks at the goal line. It was so painful. So the Seahawks, they can come back. And you know what? The quarterback, he wants to prove himself because he's been written off before. And this is such an opportunity for the ultimate comeback story.
The time is 2 o'clock on Friday, February 16th. It's Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, what can we expect to see in the big game? KSL Sports will join me to break it down. Also this hour,
on the face of it, it's a harmless prank, but it's what happens after.
the dangers of ding-dong ditching. We'll get an in-depth look into the latest investigation. But first, our top stories. A man is in police custody after a 4-hour standoff in Box Elder County. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff reports.
Just after 2 o'clock this morning, dispatchers got a call about a man who had attacked his girlfriend and threatened multiple people with a gun.
During the altercation, the subject pistol whipped another adult in the home, physically strangled the female victim, and pointed a gun at the female victim and at himself.
Deputy Cade Palmer with the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office says when officers arrived, Jeremy McIntyre threatened them, which prompted a bigger response with officers from several agencies arriving. Reporting from Northern Utah, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News. The White House facing heavy criticism after President Trump posted a video that includes a racist meme depicting former President Obama and his wife Michelle as apes.
Initially, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement, quote, "This is from an internet meme depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public," end quote. But again, since that statement, the video now appears to have been deleted, and the White House is now saying from an anonymous staffer, quote, that they erroneously made the post.
ABC's Jay O'Brien reporting. Other national stories KSL is following. Minneapolis resident Aaliyah Rockman is talking to ABC News about a recent arrest and detention by ICE while she was on her way to a doctor's appointment.
I saw people constantly laughing and taunting. They did it to me when I asked for my cane. They didn't give me a cane. They stood me up and started laughing and poking me and saying, "Walk, walk, you can do it, walk."
Rockman can be seen on the video being removed from her car despite telling officers that she's disabled. She says she was taken to a detention center with abysmal conditions where she eventually fainted, later waking up in a hospital. Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow up by about 2.5%, up 1,200 points, sitting at 50,115, a record breaker. S&P 500 up by nearly 2%, up 133 points, and the NASDAQ up by 491 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU. Love where you bank. Ricky?
The accident, I-215 southbound going eastbound prior to the I-15 junction. It's been loaded up on the tow truck. They're getting ready to pull away. All earlier delays have cleared. All of the rest of the Valley freeways are looking good at this time. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Dry and upper 50s for the weekend along the Wasatch Front. Fingers crossed. Things hopefully changing next week with Monday a 20% chance of showers and increasing to a 40% chance on Tuesday. 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think.
All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
When Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts or commitments, so while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting, your Xfinity internet price won't budge. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And guess what? You'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get their best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month, plus get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 monthly value. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The Winter Games kick off today in Italy, so this weekend is bound to be full of all sorts of events. But something else big is happening here in the States this weekend, and it is the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks take on the New England Patriots this Sunday in San Francisco, and you can catch all the action on KSL 5 TV. Joining me now to preview the big game is KSL Sports' Alex Curie. So, Alex, for those of us who aren't really fond of either of these teams, get us excited about this big game.
How dare you? I'm a Seattle native. I just was telling you this before the break, though. And look, I went my whole childhood with this team absolutely stinking it up. And I got one Super Bowl out of these guys in 2013, and I thought, you know what? I'm good for the rest of my life. This is bonus for Seahawks fans. But I feel a little bit the same way. I think people generally feel like these two teams, it's like they're young, and they shouldn't be here yet. That's kind of the consensus that a lot of people have. But they've won all the games that you have to win to be able to get to the Super Bowl. So obviously these teams are worthy to be there. But I get what you're saying, because you're used to seeing, the top of the top of the top. And it's usually the quarterbacks. And while Drake May just finished second in the MVP voting yesterday, Sam Darnold's like a great story, an upstart thing, but you want to see best on best, and I wonder, and the Seahawks are favored, and so by quite a bit. I think a lot of people are leaning in that direction.
I'm kind of hearing from you that you aren't quite certain.
Listen, I'm a fan
you don't
of
want him to let
sports
you down,
that has played this game before. I set myself up for expectations that are very low. I do it with everything in my life. And so this works even better for sports, where I go, hey, you know what? I'm not expecting much. They got to the Super Bowl. It's gravy after this. But, the Seahawks defense, I think, is a lot better than the offense that the Patriots have.
Okay, what are you going to be looking for?
That exactly. That the Seahawks' young defense is exceptional. They led the league this year in points per game. That means they gave up the fewest, right? And this is a team that, unless the team knows them, the Rams were the team in the NFC Championship. They know the Seahawks, and so they're able to kind of crack that code a little bit. The Patriots and the Seahawks don't see each other, and I think the Pats are going to be overwhelmed by the fact that these guys are just at a different level of defense. But the Sam Darnold story, going from being moved around all these different cities and not good enough, being told he's a career backup, to taking Seattle to the Super Bowl, pretty fun.
pretty fun. So those are the key players. What other players should we be watching for? I mean,
Well,
are both teams healthy? Any injuries?
There's always a handful, but not big ones. Not the big ones. The backup running back for the Seahawks, Zach Charbonnet, is out, but you have the majority of everybody is going to be playing. And there's some guys here locally. Kairos Tonga played defensive end or a defensive tackle at BYU. You've got not Jordan Love. Chucky Keaton is a from Utah State, is a assistant over on the Patriots. You have a few guys who are over on the Seahawks that have local ties here. So we always love to dip into those. JJ, my co-host on our show.
That is awesome.
He dips into and he's out there in Santa Clara. So we're going to be talking with him quite a bit this weekend as well. And so I'm excited for it because it's the Super Bowl, and I'm here for the chips and dips. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely, the chips and dips. But sometimes the games just aren't as exciting as other times.
Yes.
They get a little slow. Is this going to be one that keeps us on the edge of our seats, or are we going to be eating more chips and dips than usual?
In the first half, is it going to be able to keep your attention so you stick around for Bad Bunny at the halftime?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to do that anyway.
You'll do that anyway.
I don't watch the halftime.
I know. I don't know. The reality is that we've been disappointed by a lot of Super Bowls in the past that have been blowouts. Now, recently we've had some decent matchups, but the Seahawks beat the Broncos when they won the Super Bowl by almost 30. Almost 15 years ago. So I want it to be a close game. I think it could be. I mean, you get so many talented guys in the Super Bowl in the NFL. The NFL is the best league when it comes to matchups. So we're looking forward to that. I don't want it to be a blowout. I don't want it to be something that we turn off at halftime because we're like, it's a lame game. But I get the sentiment. People are like, Seahawks and Patriots. Haven't we seen this before? And it's like, yeah, but it's totally different teams, different coaches, all different players, no Tom Brady.
Okay.
So
Since I don't have a favorite, I'm going to pick the Seahawks just for you personally.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Because usually what I do when I don't have a favorte, I pick the underdog. Because
you
got to cheer for the underdog.
I and Steve Largent both thank you for your for cheering for the Seahawks. So we're looking forward to it. The Super Bowl is always a wildly watched, tons of food. It's really about the get-togethers. Mainstream people who never watch sports during the rest of the year, they dip in for the Super Bowl.
They absolutely do. All right, thank you so much.
You bet.
That is Alex Carey with KSL Sports. Big game kicks off at 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday on KSL 5 TV. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
My friend Joey means well.
Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000. Or online, GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
For generations, doorbell ditching has been a harmless thrill among teens, but now what used to be seen as a childhood prank seems to be getting more and more dangerous. On yesterday's Midday, we spoke to KSL investigator Daniela Rivera about the story that she was working on, looking into the dangers of ding-dong ditching. In her story, which aired on KSL TV, she spoke with several homeowners about their experiences with ding-dong ditching and looked at a growing trend of violence coming from what used to be a rather innocent prank.
It's a sound that's become so familiar.
They're kind of chitter-chattering coming up to the door, and you can see them like knock, 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 ding dong, and then they run.
Sean Goobly just laughs.
They look like they're incapable, and the one almost falls.
Hoodies on, hurried steps, panic as they scurry away.
I'm guilty. I definitely ding dong ditched as a kid.
I mean, who hasn't? Goobly says it's funny now, but when random ding-dong ditching started at his home a couple years ago, his wife was alone with their 5 kids, and no one was laughing that night.
And she called me just hysterically, and they kept coming back like every hour on the hour, and it got really escalated to the point where she called the police to come and check on her.
It's still happening.
We're dead asleep in the middle of the night, and so it's like you hear the ring, and like instantly your heart just like goes off your chest.
It sounds frustrating.
Extremely.
So they started keeping the porch lights on, invested in a camera, and once, Goobly even chased and confronted some doorbell ditchers.
I was pretty upset, just kind of like, my family's sleeping, you're waking up my kids. This can be very dangerous.
He's not wrong. Incidents across the country have ended tragically, including the shooting death of an 11-year-old boy in Texas last year.
We found several examples here in Utah where a knock or a ring at the front door leads to violence and criminal charges. So we set out to understand why a once silly prank seems to be more dangerous today.
It's a different world.
Salt Lake City Police Sergeant Greg Wilking says ding-dong ditching isn't something they track. The evidence of escalating tension is anecdotal.
On the face of it, it's a harmless prank. But it's what happens after, and all the things that could happen.
The KSL investigators have tracked 4 ding-dong ditching incidents in the last 2 years that led to criminal charges in Utah. In August, court documents say Tony Burnstone caught a 12-year-old boy who had doorbell ditched him. The boy told police Burnstone slapped him in the face and punched him in the stomach before taking him to a nearby gas station to meet up with the boy's dad. Burnstone is now facing felony child abuse and kidnapping charges.
Really a situation that just didn't need to happen. And is unfortunate for everybody involved.
In Utah County, Sergeant Ray Orman says the sheriff's office has handled similar unfortunate cases. In 2024, Michael Roberts, an Eagle Mountain man, was sick and tired of ding-dong ditching at his home.
All you could see was a hoodie and a mask.
But on a night that no one had come to the door, Roberts saw some teens getting into an SUV in his neighborhood, and he started shooting plastic rounds.
It looked like a handgun. He just firing it at us. You see this on the door?
And actually heard the projectiles impacting into their vehicle, thought they were being shot at.
A scary moment for an uninvolved group of teens, resulting in criminal charges for the homeowner.
That's a very inappropriate response.
In Riverton last year, a teenager told police he and some friends were chased after doorbell ditching at an apartment complex. According to charging documents, a group of men caught the 14-year-old boy. He told police one of them pushed his face into the gravel, kicked, punched, and threatened him before stomping on the boy's head. Marshall Aho is now facing a felony charge of aggravated child abuse.
It speaks to, I think, a bigger problem in society where we have confrontation with people and we take things to the extreme. People are really on edge and agitated and angry.
And fearful. Sergeant Ormond says that could be because the pranks have also become more intense, like this one in Utah County, where the person at the door appears to be carrying a handgun.
We have seen a trend where these juveniles are running up and pounding on the door and kicking the door.
Noise that could mimic a home invasion.
The intention could be a prank, but it's creating real fear.
Correct.
Still, police warn.
When you're an adult, you need to be an adult.
Don't take matters into your own hands.
You can call the police. We can come and deal with it.
And parents should talk to teens about the potential dangers.
You don't know whose door you're going to go knock on or pound on.
Luckily, for the kids pounding on Goobly's door now.
Just silly, silly boys.
He's chosen humor and acceptance as the way forward.
Well, just let them ring the doorbell whenever they want now, and we'll just leave them alone. And hopefully they just stop.
Goobly told me when he was ding-dong ditching 20 years ago, kids would go to their friends' homes, people they knew. That's why he thinks we might be seeing a shift.
KSL investigator Daniela Rivera reporting. You can read more about her investigation at ksltv.com. Healthcare workers and campus employees at the University of Utah joining forces to demand changes. More on that after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
We do have a really nice drive in progress on all the Valley freeways and most of our main secondaries in Utah County. It's that construction. It's going to slow you down, especially if you're traveling eastbound on Pioneer Crossing going from 5th West Lehigh over to the I-15 junction. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Amanda, I've been taught to begin with the end in mind. And when it comes to something like weight loss, that's really, really important because some weight loss plans have no end. It's like another refill or another bill or another year, but soda weight loss has a finish line.
You learn it once, you use it forever. And I'm all about health. I mean, I don't want to have my body become addicted to another drug that I have to take forever in order to be healthy. I want the opposite of that. I want fewer medications. I want my body to learn how to do this on its own and be strong.
For so many weight loss drugs, you have to just take them forever in order to maintain that feeling when you cross the finish line.
Yeah.
When I hit 70 pounds that I let go of in 5 months, what an amazing feeling. And it was amazing to know I could just go forward from this point.
You can talk to a nutritionist and ask all your questions at 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because at Soda, join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Come on, the meeting's already started.
Sometimes it's important.
Last call, boarding gate number 9.
Sometimes it's urgent.
Trip through alarm.
Sometimes it's vital. Hospital treatment within 1 hour of a stroke can prevent lifelong disability. If you notice someone experiencing sudden weakness on one side or having a problem speaking, walking, or seeing, call 911 fast. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. University of Utah healthcare workers and campus employees want their voices to be heard. They are joining forces to demand changes they say affect workers, patients, and students. The Communication Workers of America Local 7765 is bringing together the two groups that don't always organize side by side, University of Utah healthcare workers and campus employees. Carlos Martinez is the organizing director and says they're calling it You for Who?
The core issue at the heart of this campaign is the contradiction that these workers feel every day, which is on the one hand, the importance of the mission that this university and hospital system is meant to carry out and serving the interests of the public and providing quality health care and education to working Utahns, while on the other hand, being constrained by the forces of business and politics on the legislature that are undermining these institutions through severe cuts in funding, as well as top-down decisions that aren't being done in consultation with these experts in their fields.
Martinez says it's about things like staffing levels, workload, parking costs, childcare, and what he calls a lack of response from university leadership.
One of the leading policies that we are hoping that they actually abide by and commit to is Policy 5-100, which outlines that the university and the administration, when given a formal request by a labor association, should meet and confer with a labor organization. And so far, they have just ignored us. And so we want them to commit to their existing policies as well as think about instituting new policies and actually, challenging the forces of business and politics that are undermining this institution. That's kind of what we're looking for.
He says these workers have no other option to have their voices heard, so they've decided to launch issue-oriented campaigns to get the job done.
We recognize that because there isn't an official process, like there isn't an election process set up, that the way that we are going to do that is by running these issue-based campaigns to grow our power as well as force the administration to contend and listen to the issues that we're leading with.
It's not just about the U employees. Martinez says it's also about the care all Utahns receive.
What we're fighting for is the public good. It's really important that Utah retains the prestigious R1 public institution, but it is slowly becoming more and more inaccessible, unaffordable, and being undermined. And so we hope that people can see that what we're trying to do is protect public higher ed and public health care in the state of Utah.
The union is holding a public campaign launch rally tomorrow afternoon at the University of Utah. City of Ogden celebrating a special day today, their 175th birthday. When the city came about in 1851, there were more cows than people in Weber County. My, oh my, how things have changed. Joining me to talk about this special day is Ogden's own mayor, Ben Nadolski. Thank you so much for being with me. Happy birthday.
Thank you for the birthday wishes, and thank you for having us.
Exciting to talk to you. So tell us, first of all, how you're celebrating.
Well, we're celebrating by inviting the community. So we do an event that we call the First Friday Art Stroll. And it's where we really highlight and celebrate the arts throughout our community, particularly in our downtown. And we're inviting the community to that. But as part of it, we have a birthday celebration at our Union Station. It's running from 6 to 9 tonight. And we're offering free admission to all of our museums, galleries. We'll have live music in the grand lobby of our Union Station. It'll be a really festive atmosphere all night long, food trucks, music, 360-degree photo booth, etc. So it's just one of those things that gives us an opportunity to celebrate, knowing there's all kinds of reasons or things that, we're encouraged to argue about or fight about, but not tonight. Tonight's something to celebrate.
Yeah, I mentioned that there were more cows than people way back when, but please talk about for a moment how far your city has come. I mean, just the Union Station itself is pretty incredible if people haven't seen it.
It is, and well, that's actually a funny comparison because it really does speak to the importance of agriculture and livestock production and the history of our city. Weber County as a whole and Ogden City as Weber County seat relied on that. But also we were important because of our transportation nexus for agriculture, and that really is how we became who we are. It's all about being the crossroads of the West and then the history around railroad, et cetera. And fast forward all the way to today where certainly there's more people than cows. We're really returning back to our roots, the roots of history, the roots of transportation, becoming and being what we already are, but what we want to be our best of, which is not just the downtown of Ogden City, but the downtown of northern Utah, and making sure that we're stepping into our greatness by being the regional leader in transportation, economy and commerce, job creation, and really affordable and quality of life around opportunities for arts, history, culture, entertainment, food, dining, outdoor recreation, sports, entertainment, etc. So it's fun to look back on where we started, think about where we've been, and then reflect on where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a long-term plan there. Can you give us some of the highlights, a couple of the highlights of things that you hope to do right away?
Yeah, in fact, we're having our celebration at the Union Station for a reason. That's where everything started and ends for us. And that's the heart and the epicenter of our future plans for us. We are really looking forward to inviting the world back through the grand lobby of the Union Station when the Olympics come to visit our city and our state. Our grand lobby is a beautiful place. It's old and it's tired and it needs attention. And so we've set our sights on that timeline for welcoming the world back to make sure that we are welcoming them through a fully restored, historically preserved Union Station by first returning the front runner back to the back of the Union Station so that people can enter off of rail service through that grand lobby. And we think that that is one big step of part of a much broader development and redevelopment and preservation and cultural project that we are really focusing on around the Union Station for our downtown vibrancy.
Well, like I said, if people haven't seen it, I can truly understand that. And it's hard to understand why people haven't seen it because Front Runner does just pretty much deliver them there.
Just a little to the north, but it's far enough away that it's a little disjunct from our past. And so we're trying to reconnect that.
Mayor, I appreciate your time. Happy birthday. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
You bet. And that is Mayor Ben Nadolski. He's the Ogden City Mayor. They are celebrating their 175th birthday. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A massive party planned in downtown Salt Lake City tonight to celebrate the opening of the Winter Games. Speaking of the games, we'll get a live update from our KSL team on the ground in Italy. And KSL traffic. Ricky?
Traffic already busy and a little slow going through Murray and Midvale. Maria?
Well, it's a great weekend if you want some spring-like weather with highs in the upper 50s and pretty dry. Looks like we could see some changes early next week. Fingers crossed on that. 40% chance of showers on Tuesday. It's 2:30.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. A record close for the Dow Industrial Index, trading and closing above 50,000 points today, the first time ever. It marks the best day for U.S. stocks, too, since May, with today's rally making up for losses much of this week. The S&P and NASDAQ adding and posting gains. Ted Weisberg is the founder of Seaport Securities.
What makes it even more amazing, quite frankly, is that we live in a world which is in complete turmoil almost on a daily basis. And, we sort of get emotionally pulled from pillar to post. And yet through it all, corporate America has done just fine.
President Trump in a social media post touting the milestone of the Dow, saying, "Congratulations, America." Bitcoin also recouping some losses above 70,000 after dropping below 61,000 mark. And consumer sentiment also up, according to the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. The Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office is not going to pursue charges against the officer accused of shooting and killing Malachi Portwood, a teenager with autism. Today, they deemed that shooting was justified. Since then, law enforcement has been working on their response to tense situations involving someone with autism. The Autism Council of Utah says they've been working on training these first responders on how they could approach the situation. Board member Michelle Hiles says it brings real peace of mind for families.
For families to know that their local city police department and officers have been trained, I think is peace of mind for the community that they live in.
Council has also been working on distributing supply kits to first responders that could help an individual with autism. Other local stories KSL is following. A new ice rink may be coming to Utah County. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez reports.
Utah County Commissioner Skylar Beltran has been working on the logistics of building a new ice rink for the last year. Beltran says he is currently talking with a construction company to get an initial bid, and he thinks a good facility will cost around $16 million. So far, they have received around $12 million in funding from the Parks and Tourism tax and private donations from the Utah Mammoth. And they're hoping to receive continued support from private donors and community members to hit their goal. Beltran says the hockey community has been really supportive of the ice rink.
While they are still narrowing down the best location for the rink, Beltran says they are leaning towards Lehigh. And taking a look at your money at this moment, as you just heard on ABC News, a record-breaking day for the Dow above the 50,000 mark at the close, up by 1,200 points. S&P up by 133 points, and the NASDAQ up by 490 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU. Love where you bank. Ricky?
Traffic already getting busy and slow. Southbound I-15 at the South Interchange to Midvale. We do have a vehicle out of traffic on the shoulder. Not sure if it's disabled or there might have been an accident. But the afternoon drive for Friday is kicking in. And we also have a crash in Utah County. This is going to be traveling Pioneer Crossing about a block or so before you get to Redwood Road going westbound. Step aboard history, walk through recreations, see real artifacts, and feel the legacy of Titanic, the exhibition. Open now at the Shops at Southtown in Sandy. Tickets at titanicexhibition.com. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy the upper 50s for the weekend. Things are changing. We will be down back into the mid-40s by early next week. 55 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Drivers who switch their home and auto with Progressive could save money and time. Other things try to do this, but they really don't. Like the touchscreen at fast food places. It's not like you save time because it takes you longer to use a touchscreen than, I don't know, someone who works there. And another thing, you'd think it would save money because they're not paying a cashier, right? But no, same price. Also, why is there an option to tip? Who am I tipping? Exactly. Anyway, even if you can't save money and time with some things, you could with a Progressive Home and Auto Bundle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos.
The 2026 Winter Games on KSL News Radio.
Right now, the opening ceremony for the Winter Games is underway. For those who aren't able to watch it this afternoon, you're in luck. Salt Lake City will hold a watch party tonight to celebrate the beginning of the games, and you are all invited. I spoke with Mayor Erin Mendenhall to get the details.
Tonight, we are inviting the state of Utah, anybody who's a fan of watching our incredible athletes compete at this global level, to join us. It's a free event in the middle of the Library Square down here, across the street from City Hall. We'll be having this party every day of the Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. But tonight, because it's opening ceremony and again on closing ceremony, it's going to be especially exciting. So everybody's invited to come down, and the show starts around 4 o'clock with the real festivities beginning at 6 and then the broadcast at 7.
Okay, Mayor, why is it important to do these kinds of events for the Olympics?
Well, I think, honestly, coming together, celebrating the Olympics and the Paralympics, and feeling the joy of our Olympic spirit as a state is as needed right now than any other time in our history. It's not only about Team USA, it's about us celebrating together, sharing that space together, and coming together in one of the prettiest parts of our downtown to have a great time with families. It's kid-friendly, it's free, and we get to cheer on our athletes, so many of whom train right here in Utah.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see what a difference it makes when you are celebrating with the community rather than home on your own couch, right?
Yeah, the spirit of the games, as you know, has lived on consistently since 2002. Over 80% of Utahns have consistently supported us bringing the world back here with another games. We're so excited to do that in 8 years. And that's only 2 winter games away. So we get to watch Milan Cortina. We'll have the French Alps in 4 more years, and then it's right back here at home. So the legacy begins tonight, and we get to build this legacy over the next 8 years as we build up to our return.
Let's talk for a second about the athletes and the importance of really celebrating those athletes that come from Utah. They train right here.
You know, over 30 nations send their athletes to train here because of our incredible facilities, because of our supportive community, and because of the altitude that we have that helps their training experience. So not only do we have a lot of Utahns and people who have been living here for years that are training, but we, some of us even, out in the community, out at the Kearns Oval, up at the training facility in Summit County, we get to meet these athletes from around the world. And that opening ceremony experience of watching the Parade of Nations, the flags come in, I think is also especially special for Utahns, as we have an incredible amount of people who speak different languages, who have visited different nations and feel connected to people from all over.
Mayor, what message do you hope this sends to people around the world about Salt Lake City's excitement for the games?
Salt Lake City has been and is ready to bring the world back here. We love the games, and we know that sport can unite communities. And I think that's something that Americans of whatever political affiliation or none that you have can come together around more than almost anything else. Sport is something that can help us heal. It can help us grow. And I think Americans, community members around this nation right now are looking for that. Come and celebrate with us. Come have a great time and check it out. You're going to have free access, and like I said, it's every day of the games, and then we'll have a little bit of a dark week and fire it right back up for the Paralympics.
That is Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall there. A live report from Italy coming up in 30 seconds.
Who doesn't love winning? Right now at KSL.com/win, you'll find exciting contests with prizes you actually want. Tickets, gift cards, and more. It's fast, it's free, and you can enter in just a few clicks. New contests are added all the time, so there's always another chance to win big. Don't miss out. Visit KSL.com/win today and enter to win. That's KSL.com/win.
The 2026 Winter Games on Middays with Maria, live from Milan. Brought to you by America First Credit Union.
Grit, determination, the athletic prowess, all on display from nearly 3,000 athletes participating in the Winter Games in Italy over the next few weeks. And today, the festivities began with quite a spectacular show. Joining us live on Midday from Milan, Deanie Wimmer of KSL 5 News. She's part of KSL's team covering the Winter Games for us. Deanie, so glad to hear from you. What a show.
Hi, Maria. It was a fun show. And the thing I really liked about being here is I was at the fan zone watching it and could see the reaction of all the native Italians and Milanese that were here watching along with them. So it was a neat experience.
So describe some of the highlights for us. We don't want to give everything away for those folks who are going to watch it tonight on TV.
Right.
But give us some highlights.
These events typically center on things that are known for that company. So you can imagine there were fashion, there were other things that really totally epitomize Italy. There were also the moment when they sang the Italian national anthem and all the phones went out and people cheered. The athlete parade march is always a highlight as well, as you see your country's team go by. So it was fun to be there among the crowd, and I was listening to Mayor Mendenhall as she talked about what we were doing there, and it was kind of a similar event. The goal was to bring people together in various communities. They have these fan zones where you can try out different sports, and I put that in quotes because you're trying them out in different ways. But
right.
You try them out, you come celebrate, you're with your fellow people, and it's just a way to bring the games to the people.
So describe those fan zones a little bit more for us who have never experienced such a thing.
Yeah, well, they have big screen monitors. They have big, lit displays. And so, you could try curling. You could try to swing a hockey stick. You could play air hockey. You could, they have these machines where you can simulate skiing. I see them at the gym, so there's different ways that you can kind of envision yourself as the athlete. Half of them are kind of video game options. And then you can, they have sometimes merchandise. They have refreshments and things like that. And then the big screens are going. And so people celebrate. And what was interesting here is you see people from all over the world. We ran into people from Denver. We ran into people from Spain, from all countries all over the place. And it was just it was fun.
It's pretty unique to be able to attend the games in any way, shape, or form, whether you're in the fan zone or wherever you are. Talk about that experience and what you got to hear from some of those people that you talked to.
I heard a couple of different things. One, just how proud the Italians who spoke English that I spoke with were so proud, and they expressed things that I think we will probably be able to relate to when it's our turn. They couldn't believe that it's finally here. They've prepared and waited for so long, and it's finally here. And they were so proud to see that people were enjoying their country, that they thought their country and their city here, Milan, was beautiful. And then, you'd see people from far away who came and they wanted to experience the games. And, the people we talked to from Denver, this was their first time in Europe, and they decided this was going to be their trip to both watch men's hockey and to experience a new culture.
Well, Deanie, thank you for sharing the experience with us. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Have a good time there. What an experience.
Thanks, Maria. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That is Deanie Wimmer with KSL 5 live from Milan speaking with us today. And we'll get another check-in with her on Monday at the same time at 2:40 in the afternoon. Now, the opening ceremony for the Winter Games is just about over, but KSL 5 TV will re-air it tonight beginning at 7 o'clock. So if you missed it, be sure to tune in tonight for that replay. The 2026 Winter Games on Midday with Maria Shilaos, brought to you by America First Credit Union. America First Credit Union has everything you need to get your money working, so head to americafirst.com and become a member today. After the break, we'll get a look at some other things happening this weekend around Utah. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU Supercharger Savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
A crash in Murray, southbound I-15 approaching the I-215 junction. All of the vehicles are trying to get out of traffic over to the right shoulder, and UHP has arrived. But it is part of the slowing in that stretch between 53rd South Murray off and on into Sandy. And we are also seeing some busy traffic filling in and slowing just a bit northbound I-15, 2100 South to the 6 South exit into downtown. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done, or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Valentine's Day is a moment to pause and celebrate the love that fills your life. Duke's Jewelers in Springville believes every love story deserves something timeless, something chosen with intention and given from the heart. This Valentine's season, explore pieces that speak without a single word. Dazzling diamonds that catch the light, rich gold that feels classic and enduring, and colorful gemstones that tell a story all their own. Whether you're marking a first Valentine's together, honoring decades of devotion, or simply wanting to make someone feel cherished, Duke's Jewelers is here to help you find the perfect piece. Duke's Jewelers will guide you with care, offer thoughtful suggestions, and even wrap your gift beautifully so you can enjoy the moment, not stress over it. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Springville Main Street and discover a gift that will be treasured long after February 14th is passed. Because love is worth celebrating in the most meaningful way. Duke's Jewelers. Love elevated.
Andy, I like that shirt. Is that a new shirt?
It is. It's from Ann Collar, and it's really rare to find a shirt that looks good and is super comfortable. And this is a fabric unlike anything I've ever felt.
I got one for my husband and my sons, and they watching my 19-year-old put on the Ann Collar shirt and sort of check himself out in the mirror. I thought, wow, he's really digging that. And I can understand why, because it's not just comfortable, it's stain repellent, which I needed.
Oh, my goodness.
Because,
Something.
He attracts spaghetti sauce to shirts like you would not believe. And with these Ann Collar shirts, I can get it out.
Amanda, I have to wear a special bib when I eat spaghetti with a white shirt on. But with Ann Collar shirts, it takes those little tiny nicks and stains, and they don't stick to you. Yeah, you don't have to dump a bucket of stuff on you, but it would repel that too.
You've got to try one. So whether it's the traditional white shirt or any of the patterns they have, it's Ann Collar, and they're made right here in Utah.
If you've never tried Ann Collar before, we have got permission to give you 15% off at andcollar.com and go get your first. Use the code KSL15.
That's Ann Collar, ANDcollar.com.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Our closest living genetic relatives in the animal world possess more than human-like characteristics. They possess imagination. New research shows apes can play pretend much like we do. AP reporter Adthi Ramakrishnan explores the science with Christopher Krupnai in the Psychological and Brain Psychological and Brain Sciences discipline at Johns Hopkins. Now she takes us into the lab to see how the experiments with the apes worked.
Humans have often considered how apes, our closest living genetic relatives, possess human-like characteristics and behaviors. And their similarities to us might be closer than we imagined. New research from Johns Hopkins University is demonstrating for the first time that apes have the ability to imagine and play pretend. In a recent study, researchers conducted controlled experiments resembling a child's tea party with a 43-year-old bonobo named Kanzi. Researchers poured imaginary juice into 2 cups, then pretended to empty one into a pitcher. Kanzi is then asked which cup he wants. He points to the cup still containing pretend juice. Further trials confirmed he could distinguish between real and make-believe items. Kanzi was correct about 70% of the time.
There's an image in the animal's mind, there needs to be, that is divorced from reality. You know, they can sort of separate out that, you know, this is where we're pretending there's juice, but in reality, there's no juice. This form of imagination allows you to depart from the here and now and to have these sort of 2 images in your mind, one that's the true state of the world and a totally distinct one that represents an imaginary state.
The study was conducted on a bonobo, but researchers believe other apes, like gorillas or chimpanzees, might possess the same ability for imagination. Kanzi grew up among humans, so it's hard to say whether his abilities extend to all apes or because of his special upbringing. Many great ape species in the wild are critically endangered, and it'll take more research to understand what their minds are capable of.
The researchers admit it's still hard to know what's going on in the apes' heads. They could just be imitating researchers or mistaking imaginary objects for the real thing. Hundreds of scouts will be out collecting food tomorrow for Scouting for Food. Chair of the Utah Food Drive, Lorna Kosai, says they will be all at a Smith's Food locations, I should say, from 9 to 3.
We will have members of over 400 scout troops throughout the state at the Smith stores collecting food and also getting food at some of the partner locations. They will be there from 9 to 3 o'clock. And it's important to the scouts because this gives them service opportunities. It's exciting to have a service opportunity like this that's one day in the whole state. They can use hours on this qualifying for their badges. But more importantly, we really want to have the opportunity to instill that spirit of giving with all of the scouts. And they feel a really strong connection between what they're doing while they're collecting food at the grocery stores to those people who are in need and don't have maybe some of the privileges that many of us have and many of our scouts have. So it's very important to scouts. This is actually a national program, and each area has the opportunity to do their Scouting for Food drive whenever they're wanting to. It's not like the same day nationally. But almost every area in the country where there are scouts, a Scouting for Food drive day is conducted.
How can people help?
People can help in a very simple way. If they are at a Smith store tomorrow shopping, or could go to a Smith if that's not their regular store, buy a couple things extra and give to the scouts who will be at the stores. They will be there between 9 and 3 o'clock. And the typical food drive items are what we would like most. Canned, tuna fish, chili, stew, canned vegetables, and also even items like toilet paper and diapers, other kinds of paper products. In Salt Lake County specifically, there is a need to collect items that go in the Granite School District child hunger kits. And those items are listed on a little handout that will be given to every shopper in the stores in Salt Lake County, as well as all of the other stores here in the state. Also getting on the Crossroads of the West Scout Council website, if someone wanted to make a financial donation to their local pantry, they could get on the Scout Council website, and there's a QR code where a donation could be made, and it would be sent to their local pantry.
So this is a little different than when the scouts used to go out and collect foods from the homes. Can you kind of describe why it's different now?
A few years ago, the structure of the partnership between the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Scout organization changed. And as a result of that, Scouting was now no longer a kind of a program tightly affiliated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And each organization were more independent. So given that the number of scouts reduced significantly at that time, it really was no longer as impactful and effective to have the scouts just work in their neighborhoods. So we made a decision with that for them to be at the grocery stores and be collecting food at the grocery stores. And I can tell you, I go visit scouts all day long on the day of the food drive. They love doing this. They make signs to put on the gaylords or barrels that are at the stores. They have a good opportunity to learn how to approach a shopper and ask for a donation. So it's a wonderful day. They are fully engaged. It's really fun to see them.
That is Chair of the Utah Food Drive, Lorna Kosai. And again, the Scouting for Food Drive happens tomorrow at all Smith's grocery stores from 9 to 3. A bit of winter is making its way to downtown Salt Lake City right now. Along West Temple, mounds of snow. It's part of Visit Salt Lake's annual Winter Roundup. It's the third year for the event, and Visit Salt Lake's Ryan Mack says the main event, ski joring, gets underway tomorrow at noon.
Most people come for the ski joring event, and ski joring is when horseback riders pull skiers on snow. So think of water skiing, but instead of a boat, you switch it out for a horse and a cowboy. We do this in partnership with the Utah Days of 47 Rodeo, and it's a just fun, free family event that we hold downtown.
Mac tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez, obviously, where there's ski joring, there needs to be snow. So he says they've turned to the ski resorts in Cottonwood Canyon, including Solitude, Alta, and Brighton, to bring snow down from the mountains.
We're lucky in that we have such amazing partners up at the Cottonwood Canyon ski resorts. So Alta, Brighton, Snowbird, and Solitude. And, they've known that this event is coming up. So Solitude especially has been caching basically parking lot snow, so snow that they have to move anyway to be able to accommodate parking. And then we kind of pull that snow that's, essentially banked snow from their parking lot to build the course down here.
He says the lack of snow in the valley this year was really not an issue because each year they have pulled snow from the mountains instead.
Which I think, speaks to, while it's been a little bit more lean on the snow side, speaks to the quality of the Cottonwood Canyons. I've been skiing every weekend this year, and the conditions, while it's not powder, it's still really good skiing up there.
The Winter Roundup is not just about ski joring. There are also some other family-friendly events.
Ski joring is obviously a really cool spectacle, but we'll have live music, barrel sack races, kind of trick ropers and whippers, and there's just going to be a lot to do for families. Days of 47 does a great job of programming that out. So, and most of all, it's a free event, so come on down and enjoy it.
The event happening tomorrow, beginning at noon on West Temple between City Creek Center and Bravenel Hall. Have a great weekend. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News.